Somewhere close by, it's happening. Some young child is crying, and they're scared, and they're lonely, and they're confused. They can't understand why this is happening to them. Why is this person they're supposed to trust hurting them? And why are these people that are supposed to protect them ignoring it? It happens in every state, in every city, and every town. It doesn't matter what religion you are, how much money you have, or what neighborhood you grew up in. It happens everywhere. 1 in 6 women will be sexually assaulted in their lifetime, and 1 in 3 will be sexually assaulted before the age of 18 by someone they know. This film is about finding our voice. It's about not being afraid to talk about what happened. It's using our voice and our experiences to help others that are going through what we've already been through. It's about showing that even though bad things happen to us, we don't have to be defined by our past. It's about showing others that are now just dealing with the pain and the anger and the fear that they're not alone.
I'm a survivor of sexual abuse. I was around 3 or 4, and it lasted till about 6 or 7, until after my mother finally left. I was abused by a little boy that I have no idea who his name is, or what his name is, and my mother, which is now gone and out of my life.
A survivor of incest, perpetrated by my father when I was 7 years old until I was about 12.
I was 9 years old when my brother began raping me. And it continued until I was 12 years old.
When help is needed, it doesn't always come. When you try to run away, sometimes you come back home. When the tears come streaming and you can't stop them at your eyes, the darkness ever haunting you can break through its disguise. And sometimes you want to lash out at it by screaming loud with rage, but people would think you were crazy and lock you in a padded cage. So you keep it to yourself forever and never pour your secret, for if you tell a soul, for blackmail they may keep it. But the longer you keep it inside you, the more you decay and die. The more you hide it inside you, the more you want to cry. But you keep on growing stronger and only burst with tears alone, for if your secret gets out, you'll still be all alone.
I ran out screaming and crying finally and told my parents, and they're like, it's okay, Amanda, go color. And to this day, I only color when I'm depressed, when I'm having bad flashbacks, when I can't concentrate, I color. I mean, people color for fun, I color for pain.
I knew she knew it was happening, and she did nothing. You know, well, at one point she put a lock on the inside of my bedroom door, you know, a little bolt lock. Right. So I knew she knew what was going on, you know, and she didn't stop it. She didn't protect me.
I told my mom about it, and she just made it seem like he had never had a little sister, didn't know how to play with girls, and because at that age his hormones are racing, and we kind of have to give him a break, you know, that kind of thing. And I was just like, are you for real?
Make you feel, I mean, now as an adult, you kind of think of it that way, but
right.
When you told her.
You know, when I was 9 years old and she was telling me these things, I thought, actually what I thought was, why did you come to get me? Why did you take me away from everything that was good? You know, to be here where there's nothing good. You know, I honestly in 3 years have no good memories of that time.
I told her that if you had just acknowledged what was happening to me and did something to protect me, I wouldn't have been so angry. I said, instead of saying things and putting the blame on me, because she always did that. She'd always say things like, you know, little girls don't do things like that with their daddies. Like it was my fault. You know, I was 7 years old, I had no control, you know. And she said, I never said that to you. And I said, yes, you did. You said it to me all the time. You always made it sound like it was my fault. I said, and it never was my fault. And she started crying, and she started saying, you know, I'm so sorry. She says, I didn't know what to do. I was trapped, you know, and I didn't know what to do to protect you.
It's odd what people do. It's sick and it's scary sometimes. And people just believed us when we said something. A lot of us wouldn't have been going through this much pain that we go through.
My happiness is being scared away, and my love is at its edge. I'm still trying to convince sympathy not to jump off the ledge. My anger's growing stronger, and despair fills in the holes. My loneliness and tears are fighting over space and beating each other with pulse. My headache bought a rock band, and they don't play very well. And if I don't stop screaming from the pain, someone's going to lock me in a cell. I need someone to help me and kill these evil pests. I wish that I had just been cursed instead of blessed with loneliness.
I started having flashbacks, and I acted out, got in trouble with my family. I could not go home without getting upset, yelled at. I started cutting. I still have a scar on my arm from cutting. I was not very normal. My grades went down, become more sexually active, which was not good.
I was consumed by anger, you know, and I was in self-destruct mode. I was self-destructing, you know. At the age of 18, I started sleeping around with whoever I wanted. You know, I didn't care. You know, I was in self-destruct.
I was angry for a lot of years, and I abused myself because of that anger. I used drugs. I was a junkie. I used methamphetamines intravenously, and it almost killed me. You know, I put myself in bad positions where bad things happened to me. I made myself available to abuse.
Everybody says to get over it, and you deal with it day to day, no matter what. It could be in the back of your mind, but you're still dealing with it. The way you think, the way you act, the way you view the world and people, it's all because, well, it has to do a great part of what happened to you.
Nothing that I was doing at that point in time was productive. It was all to try to rid myself of this anger. You know, I would fight a lot. You know, somebody would say something to me and I'd walk up and just punch them for no reason. You know, just because I had all this anger that I didn't know where to place.
Before that, I would play in fields of wildflowers, and I pretended I was a princess, you know, and I had this great big fortress, and my lands went for as far as I could see, you know. Right. And then after this, I'm looking for my next boyfriend. I'm trying to take the virginity of kids in 8th grade. You know, yeah, it affected me that bad. And I went wild. I went through a lot of different things, and things that'll live with me forever.
Maybe someday you will see that person following you was me, and every time you turned, I was there. But no matter what I say, you never seem to care. I cried out to you, and I was scared. No matter who saw, nobody cared. I sat in a corner in my own sorrow, hoping it'll be better if only tomorrow. Someone will notice me, I tell myself. I feel like a toy, lost on a shelf. Maybe someday you will see, and bring a lighted lantern to me. Someone come and save my soul. Someone come and make me whole. Maybe one day I'll be able to act like me.
I have met a lot of people that I didn't even know that were abused at all. And when they started talking about it, they still had a lot of that pain and a lot of that anger. And they wish they could have said something to protect someone else. You know, they said, well, you know, if someone would have just, you know, if I would have been able to speak out and say something, maybe it wouldn't have happened to my little sister or to my brother or to my cousins if I had just done something. And that's kind of the thing I wanted, you know, people to know is, you know, don't be too scared to speak out. And when you grow up, don't blame yourself for it. That's the one thing I have a problem with, is blaming myself for things that happened to my brother and my sister. But I wanted people to know that it's more common than what you really think it is.
People in my generation where it was never talked about, I feel like giving that generation a voice and saying that, yes, it did happen to us, but we can deal with it and we can prevent it from happening to another generation.
I think it was important for me because I do understand that there are women out there who are trying to survive but are still victims. And understanding what it's like to be victimized, to be a victim, and then to be a survivor. I think it's important for other women to know that it is a step. There are steps that you have to go through to get through what has happened. But it's possible. It's possible, and there is, it is the greener side.
Like paint on the canvas, she runs from the brush of his hand. Like flowers that wilt in the sun, some things end before they begin. And softly she hands him a silence that he's never seen before. And sadly he watches her crying as she slips out the door. Mother, comfort me. Mother, I'm on my knees. Won't you carry me home?
To act as a victim may drive me insane. Oh, well, this is how I act because this is what happened to me. But at the same time, it's kind of truth that, this is how I act because of that, but I can try and make myself better. I can try and learn from this and try and tell people what happened and try and help other people like me. And, I would like to say just little girls, but it happens to little boys. I had a cousin that was done it by a guy. And, I just want to help these children. And even adults that are going through it too.
Our first year seminar class, we went to a sexual education, aggression thing put on by Project Hope. And Kim Talbot was our speaker. And as I listened to her talk, and she said she was a social worker, I thought, that's what I want to do. I can make more of a difference being a social worker than I ever could being a nurse. And it's like I thank her every time I see her because I think she gave me that insight to what I really wanted to do.
Just because you were abused as a child doesn't mean you have to be a victim your whole life. I don't feel like a victim. I feel like a survivor, definitely.
This film has been about finding one's voice, about not being afraid to finally talk about what happened, and learning that no matter what we go through, we don't have to let our past define who we are.
Some things end before they begin. And softly she hands him a silence that he's never seen before. And sadly he watches her crying as she slips out the door. Mother, comfort me. Mother, I'm on my knees. Won't you carry me home? Mother, comfort me. Mother,